Welcome to Glowing Success. My name is Heidi and I am your host. This podcast is for beauty entrepreneurs. Join me weekly as we dive into the beauty industry's ins and outs, from business strategies, top-selling services, and taboo topics. I will be interviewing industry leaders with empowering stories and game-changing insights. Let's illuminate your path to success together. Let's jump into this next episode. I am so excited about today's episode. I am interviewing Romina. She is the founder and formulator of Romi Apothecary. I have personally been using her products for a long time. I've professionally added them into my spa for a long time. She's been around for 8 years. She's all about nutrient dense skin remedies. So if you are into ingredients, if you're into intentional skincare, this is the episode for you. She was also just featured in Elle magazine recently, and you are not going to want to miss this. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Glowing Success. I am so excited about today's interview. It is so amazing. I can't wait. Okay. So I am interviewing Romina. She owns Romi Apothecary. I have personally been using her products for a very long time. I have added them into my spa, and they're just part of my life now. So I'm really excited to share everything with you guys. And she's just amazing. She's the founder and the formulator, has been around for about 8 years now. And I'm so excited to introduce you. So without further ado, Romina, thank you for being on.
Hi, Heidi. Thank you for having me on your podcast. It's nice to meet new people through your podcast and just be on here.
Yeah.
And thank you for the wonderful introduction. I can't believe it's already been 8 years. Holy
Right.
smoke. And I love that you shared that Romy is just a part of your daily life now and
Yes.
your business. So thank you so much for that.
Yes. I mean, I originally started using it. The earthly cleansing oil was what I started on and what I use every day. And the Oracle Eye Balm is definitely, those are like my two staples. I definitely have some other favorites, but those are the ones that like I truly could never live without.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love those two products myself. And especially the earthly cleansing oil.
Oh,
That one is really special to me. And
yes.
I think like part of the magic in creating that one is going out in the spring, usually the early part of June, and going out and greeting all the beautiful young spruce tip shoots that are just
Yes.
starting to grow out of the black spruce leaves, and
Oh,
collecting those and infusing that into the oil.
that is amazing. Oh, and just
Yes.
you can just smell it when you talk about it. Like, I just love that. Now, Romina, many people, if they're not familiar with you, kind of go into a little bit about how you started Romi Apothecary. How did this passion come about? And obviously, you gave a little introduction about like, some of the plants that you use. So I'm guessing that's some of your inspiration, but maybe go into a little bit about that.
Yes. Yes. Well, Romi Apothecary is really, I would say, um, kind of my ticket to realizing that I could live life in a much more connected way to nature. Prior to starting Romi, I was an occupational therapist working in neurorehabilitation at a hospital. And I was struggling. I was burnt out. I like just working in the hospital setting on a daily basis, seeing 8 to 10 patients a day. It was difficult. And I found myself at the end of the day just feeling so depleted of what I call my vital life force energy. And I didn't know how to gain that back and sustain it. And I stumbled upon the world of herbalism. I was in a local co-op, just kind of wasting time, buying time before I had to go home and start the whole cycle all over again. I think it was on a Wednesday, and something caught my eye in that co-op. I was in the health and wellness section, and it was a little book called Make Your Own Herbal Cosmetics. And I was like,
Mm,
wow. And I was drawn to it. It was written by Rosemary Gladstar, who started the California School of Herbalism and the traditional medicinal tea blend brand. And I just loved the voice that came through in that book. And it was all about connecting with nature, celebrating the ingredients, having a relationship with plants and through your beauty products.
yeah.
And so I found myself, and this is a synchronous moment. I got that book. I was reading it. I had to just start with Googling, where can I find herbs in Minneapolis?
Mhm.
I don't recommend that type of Google search, by the way. It'll lead you down a dark path.
Yeah.
Um, but I was driving to work one day, and on NPR, Rosemary Gladstar was speaking. She was a keynote speaker at the Midwest Women's Herbal Conference in Almond, Wisconsin. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go. And so that was sort of my first solo trip where it wasn't work related. I wasn't going with a family member or my partner. It was just solely for my enjoyment. And I went, and it just opened up a whole new world of herbalism, people and practitioners and entrepreneurs being in relationship with the plants that grow around us and using them on a daily basis for health and nourishment. So I started making my own products, and I would be so excited at the end of the day coming home to wash my face. Wash my face, cleanse my skin, metaphorically cleanse my day away, and just have that be the ritual, the habit, the bookend to complete my workday and then start my evening of relaxation and restoration.
Yeah. Wow. That is crazy. I mean, there's probably so many people that feel inspired by so much of what you just said because, you had, from what I hear, you had one job and really fell into this, so to speak. I mean, you passionately fell into it, so to speak.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
amazing.
it really, and I was one, I think I wrote my college essay on passion.
Mm.
And
Mm.
honestly, I was struggling to find a passion for my whole entire life because I was a dabbler in different things. I have a Bachelor of Arts in theater and dance. I had a minor in media studies, and then I went into occupational therapy. And so I had all these interests as a kid, just
Mhm.
exploring,
Mhm.
but I never was bitten by this real passionate drive until I stumbled upon the world of herbalism. And I can't explain it, but a lot of herbalists do comment on and remember the first initiation into this world being a special moment where it's like,
Mhm.
I was bit by the herbalism passion bug, and now it's just part of my life.
Yeah. And it's really started as something that you were desiring. Like you wanted products for yourself. It sounds like too that you really could feel secure with and feel like it was, like you said, part of your nightly ritual. And then I'm guessing it just blossomed from there, right? How did you come up with your
Yeah.
first product? Maybe that would be a good start too,
Ooh.
because that's always exciting because it sounds to me like this really blossomed. And so I'm guessing when you formulated that first one, it was probably for you. But maybe how did you come up with the one that you came up with to the public?
Yes, yes. Well, two come to mind, but I started making water and oil emulsions,
Mhm.
aka moisturizers,
Mhm.
and I remember at that time in my life, I was feeling really sensitive to anything that I was using. So any cream on the market I used, it would just kind of sting my
Yeah.
face. And I thought, oh gosh, I don't, this is a reputable brand. I paid a lot of money for this. Why is it still stinging my face? And then I started to make these emulsions, which are technically kind of difficult. It's like blending water and oil and just making sure they stick and form a nice texture. And so, but it was really fun. And I was just using all these pure plant oils that the best I could find. And I remember I wasn't good at naming products back then, and I jarred a batch up, and I think I had 18 jars, and I called it Romina's Fancy Cream or something
Mhm,
like
mhm. I love it.
Fancy Face Cream, which is
Yes.
such a bad name.
That's okay.
But I
We all gotta start somewhere.
yes. And then I just posted on my personal social media page and I was like, "Who wants one?" I think I was selling it for $10 and, yeah, all 18 jars sold. I was
Oh,
amazed,
wow.
and I would say that was what I started my company with, those first 18 jars.
I love it.
Yeah.
You know, it's so common. So as an esthetician myself, it's so common for me to hear about people coming to me, telling me how much like certain products or almost every product like you stated like that causes them pain or causes them redness or causes them irritation of some sort. And so people are out there really trying to find those products that just feel good and actually correct things and are not pushed full of fragrances. And so it's really refreshing when you come across products like yours that are really just true to nature and actually work. And we can go into like what that means too, because working in the body sense and working in the skin sense is it's such a broad term and I hate to use it, but it's going to have to fit right now. But so to speak, they soak in how they're supposed to. They don't cause irritation. Yeah, like I said earlier, they're not packed with fragrances that are fake. Um, and so I think that's just something that's fascinating. I did an episode recently where I was talking about, switching from these big companies that weren't satisfying me as a business owner or satisfying my clients and going to local brands and local companies and reaching out and finding these companies. And obviously for me it was an easier fit because I had been using your line for a while by myself, and then I've obviously through that process found other lines that I've been passionate about too. And so one thing I always tell, my listeners is like, if you're wanting to explore that route of going with somebody that's more natural or going with somebody that's local or going with somebody that just has the same passion as you, really explore it because it's quite amazing what a local company or somebody that maybe isn't that big name brand is doing, especially when it comes to not adding fragrance. I don't know how many skincare companies add fragrance,
Mhm.
and I get so sad by it. I'm like, no, there doesn't need to be fragrance here.
Yes, yes.
Ah,
One note on fragrances, I was somewhere and I there was like a natural soap with lavender available by a popular brand,
mhm.
and I washed my hands with it and I had a really bad reaction. I
Oh,
broke out. It made my hands get inflamed and itchy. And I couldn't shake that fragrance from getting a whiff of it, even hours after I used the soap. And I was like,
mm,
wow, this is so irresponsible, honestly, to
right?
have this just available to the like and without a warning. And I tried in within that brand to find a fragrance free option and there was none.
Isn't that
And
crazy?
sometimes I go to the store and I try to find a fragrance free soap,
Mm.
hand soap, and it's not available.
It's just wild to me. And there there is something out there that's better. There are opportunities out there that, for us to better accept ingredients into our bodies and our skin. I mean, our skin is our largest organ. It absorbs everything around us. It absorbs frequencies, energies, and everything you put on it, of course. And so I think it is very important to kind of think of it in a holistic way. And that's one thing that I really appreciate with how you do everything too in your company is every single product or just even every single thing that you release online, everything you do has a lot of intention behind it. And I think that's really amazing too, because, there's so many products out there that just have a lot of ingredients and they're all fancy names, but I really do think that intention behind something of like why it was intended to be used, maybe some energy that went into it, there's so much to it, and like how it carries out in our daily lives, and what you do with that when it comes to using it in the morning and night. And so I love that you were talking about rituals in earlier, because I do feel like skincare, specifically when it comes to our face and how we wash our face at night or in the morning, it should be kind of like a little ritual. And that was kind of cool. I appreciate that you said that, because I always tell people like the best way to get into a habit is, it making it special, and however you can do that, but maybe making it into a ritual.
Yes, absolutely. And I do want to say, natural doesn't mean that it's not professional or
Right.
unpolished.
Yep.
You know, a lot of
Yes.
people opt for the bigger brands because, they just assume that if it's put out by a bigger brand, it's been tested, or there's been processes to keep customers safe.
Yeah.
And the regulation in the cosmetic space in the with the FDA in the US is honestly
Not.
not very regulated. So there has been some misunderstanding that natural can mean like non-effective
Mhm.
or not safe or not luxurious, but I think in Romi Apothecary, we not only strive to maintain, like, as you said, the good energy, the good vibration, and the intention
Mhm.
for the product,
Mhm.
but we do really try to dig in to the research, the evidence based research on particular plant constituents. I
Mhm.
think that's where my herbalism background comes in handy.
Mhm.
My background with a master's in OT, I was a clinical researcher. So just knowing the
Yes.
science, and then as an herbalist too, I understand how ingredients can work symbiotically with each other,
Mhm. Yes.
pruning the ingredients that are just fillers and not as effective.
Yes.
And then also what's really important for me is sourcing.
Yeah.
I just don't go to x.com and get any herb. I'm out there, I'm meeting the farmers. I know the farmers that have these beautiful farms that they've poured love and their permaculture and biodynamic principles
Mm.
into practice. They're hand harvesting, they're being mindful of what they're putting on their plants.
Mm.
And so, what is produced by working with the smaller farmers is a supreme herb
Yeah.
that is food quality, that is medicinal quality. And then we're taking that and putting into our skincare.
That's amazing. I just appreciate the whole process. And for me as a person that uses the products too, they just always are so effective and they feel good. And I think that's how I'm always a true believer as an esthetician that obviously if you can help your client in some way, yes, that is number one. And then if they can experience the product in some way, that's number two. And then they'll be going home with it. And so, for me, they just, there's just so many products that just don't feel good out there. They don't, I think I touched on this earlier, but like maybe they don't go into the skin. So they don't soak into the skin, or I am sure that's probably not a good word to use. I'm sorry, people out there, but it's what my brain can make up with at the moment. But that is a huge one for me. So I have oily, more acne prone skin. And so when it comes to me using products specifically for myself, it's, we're always looking for that clean feeling. If you ever have oily or acne skin, anybody out there that's listening has that, they know what I'm talking about. But, we're always kind of looking for that clean feeling. We're always looking for that feeling that something's going to soak in and not just sit on the skin. And all of your products have done that for me. They've always worked exactly how I thought they should. And that's pretty amazing. I also have to know,
Wow.
yeah, I know. So I've used a lot of products out there. And I'm sure everybody else has too, because there's just curiosity, right? And then part of it's just, man, marketing nowadays is so catchy. Like sometimes you just want to try a product just because of how it looks. And so don't get me wrong, I've definitely tried everything, or I feel like I've tried everything. Um, and yeah, your products, the reason I go back to them and the reason there's so many reasons, but one of the reasons I should say is they just are effective. And I really truly believe that once a product's effective, you just have no curiosity for another. So like I have not even wanted to try another product similar to earthly cleansing oil. Like I've seen them. I've seen a lot of,
Wow.
because it does the job,
Yes.
right? And so I think there's something about that. And I think there's like, and I don't know why it's so significant, but there's just something about that. Like, and I hear people product hopping a lot. And sometimes when I talk to my clients, if specifically if I'm talking about their skin and we're trying to, maybe come to a result that they're desiring, a lot of times I want to get to know like that process, right? So I want to get to know what their skin's going through. Like, what does it go through on a daily basis? What are you cleansing? What are you doing? And I hear all too often with people is, oh, I tried this one for this time. I tried this one for this time. And now I'm trying this. And I kind of think back like, okay, so if they're trying products, no, so number one, I always have to educate people of like our skin kind of goes through a cell renewal once a month, right? So to speak. I mean, we're always producing and shedding, but that's really, you want to give your products a month to try them. Essentially, that's, you're not really going to notice huge results in less than that sometimes. So I always tell people like give your products at least a month. And if you're moving on, why did you move on? Did you move on because your eye caught something, or did you move on because that product wasn't giving you the result you were desiring? and and so your products have always given me the results I've been looking for. And so I've never really needed to go anywhere else. And so I really appreciate you for that reason. But I also think from a professional standpoint, there's something to be said about that too, right? So like, you know, finding a line and finding a home specifically in business and specifically in the spa world, if, as estheticians or as professionals, like I think we are looking for that home of some sort, right? We're looking for that product line that's going to serve our clients. We're looking for that product line that we can be really proud of. And so yeah, that's my two pieces on it. But I
That's huge. Oh my goodness.
I
First
appreciate
of all, thank you so much, Heidi, for,
it.
staying with us for so long and really giving really amazing positive feedback about our products that you've been using.
Yeah.
And I especially love that you test
Yeah.
and use the products yourself before ever recommending it to your
Yes.
clients. And the fact that you state that you kind of have oily or acne prone skin,
Hmm.
that that is that is a common misbelief of natural skincare, that if someone with a little bit oily or combination acne prone skin would use natural, it would not be compatible.
Right. I've heard this too.
And I Yes, that's a misnomer. Just because you have oily or combo skin doesn't mean that you can't use oils,
Yes. Oh,
and that you found success in using an oil cleanser and
yes.
then the Oracle Eye Balm.
Oh.
That is
And the
huge.
naked moisturizer, oh, see, and I feel like, yeah, there's so much to that too, because obviously when we get down to looking in people's skin, there's so much, right? There's so many layers, there's so many reactions, I should really call them, because a lot of times if people do have oily skin, I wouldn't say like over 50%, but a lot of times it's because people are dehydrated and they're not using the right moisturizers. So we're not getting that hydration, we're not getting that moisturization. And I do feel like, yeah, a lot of acne prone or oily, we're shying away from the products that maybe are the best for us. So like, trying, a heavier moisturizer at night sometimes, or, doing something that's different. Sometimes we have to step outside of those boundaries in order to see like what happens on the other side. And so I do think, yeah, you're right with that. Like trying something new, and sometimes the results that you're looking for are not necessarily going to come from where you think they're going to come from. Because I do believe that too, especially in the skincare world, especially in the service providing world. We're always thinking that more aggressive things are going to give you those results nowadays, right? They're going to give you the fastest results. And I always tell people, like, especially when I'm researching a service, or if I'm or researching even a product line or what have you, I always try to go back to anatomy.
Mhm.
Or in your instance, you can dive deeper into this, but I try to look into what those ingredients are actually doing, right? And so researching ingredients can be a whole dark hole into the internet too. But I definitely try my best. But I just want to see. I'm a very curious minded person, so like I always like to research things, and I always like to kind of find things. I question everything, and so I think part of that curiosity though always brings me back to like center of like, okay, what are we actually trying to achieve here? What is this product actually trying to do? So like, for instance, your earthly cleansing oil, for me, strip oil is attracted to oil, right? We kind of learned that in beauty school of like, you need to remove oil with another oil. And you can correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but I feel like truly believe, like, obviously I have makeup on, I have my moisturizer on, I have eye cream on, I have dirt from the day, I have natural oil sebum production, I have all these things at the end of the day on my skin that I need to remove, and in order for my skin to breathe, in order for my skin to accept whatever else I'm going to put on it before I go to bed. And I just feel like that specific product of yours, it just did the job without stripping, because I've used other oil cleansers in the past that emulsify, and I don't know, you always end up feeling like they're stripping, you're stripping those natural oils, and I just hate that feeling, because I know as soon as you have that really dry tight feeling, it's you're going to have to replace it, because now your body is going to naturally try to produce more oil to correct it, because our bodies are very smart when it comes to taking care of us. I always say we get in the way. So like our skin is like pretty good at taking care of itself for the most part. Like, but we are throwing off pH. We are throwing high cortisol, or we are, throwing hormones. And so like it's definitely an interesting, thing. But I always
Yeah.
tell people that with products, it's like, and that's one thing I try to drive from too when I'm doing my own research is, well, how is this really helping my skin, or how is this helping my body, or what are they actually doing with this product?
Yeah, I think those are really, really smart questions to ask. And I think it's important that people ask those questions when they work with a product or try a new product. It's like, is this necessary? Does my body want this?
Yeah.
Is this harmonious to my body's ecosystem?
Yeah.
And we could talk about oil in terms of like a broad blanket word,
Right.
but actually the world of plant oils is so
Yeah.
diverse. There's hundreds and hundreds of oils out there, just as much as we have a large biodiversity of fruits
Mhm.
and vegetables and plants. That's how much diversity that we will have in oils.
Amazing.
So, for instance, the oil pressed from the jojoba seed is has a chemical composition very similar to human sebum.
Mm.
So that's
Mhm.
why jojoba oil is a really great skin oil for the face
Mhm.
because it mimics human sebum and is shelf stable.
Yep.
Whereas coconut oil. I say if someone has combo or acne prone skin, coconut oil is not a great product for the face because it has a very high comedogenic rating.
Mhm.
So the comedogenic scale for oils is kind of like a 0 to 5 Likert scale, 5 being will cause acne or breakout, 0 meaning it won't.
Yep.
And each oil out there has a comedogenic scale based on the composition of the oils,
Mhm.
fatty acid chain.
Yep.
So coconut oil will definitely clog pores. Jojoba, very close to human sebum. In our naked moisturizer, that's why I
Mm.
use a really nice cold pressed red grape seed oil, which has a 1 on the comedogenic scale rating.
Mm.
It's very hard to get 0. I think like
Right.
synthetically processed oils fall under that 0 rating.
Okay.
Um, but red grapeseed oil, really nutritious, is a lighter oil, sinks in quickly,
Mm.
it's not as occlusive, so it doesn't like kind of just linger on the top.
Yep.
So when me as a cosmetic formulator, I'm working with those oils, I'm testing each one, seeing how it feels, how it soaks in, how it spreads, and then coming up with a formulation to meet the skin's needs.
Mm.
So for a cleanser, you want drier oils that are going to break up other sebum, because
Yep.
you're totally right.
Yep.
Oil tracks oil and dirt.
Yep.
And so, but you don't want something that's too heavy and gonna clog
And
pores.
stay behind,
So
essentially.
yes, correct. So, that was kind of the thinking behind our earthly cleansing, oil. So we
Mm.
have shiso seed, perilla seed oil that is kind of a drier oil that is great at toning or, astringing a little bit.
Mhm.
So it has that cleansing action. And then black spruce tips are
Mm.
really high in vitamin C and promoting circulation. If you look at the forests of northern Minnesota, you'll see a ton of black spruce and spruce trees.
Mm.
Str- And they are often the tallest trees in the
Oh,
forest,
wow.
and they don't lose their leaves in the wintertime. So they create a bunch of shelter for animals. They help keep other trees in the deciduous forest
Mm.
kind of rooted. And if you think about the energetics of how tall,
Yeah.
towering, gigantic trees they become, it's that energy of circulation. They have the ability to circulate energy from deep in the earth roots all the way to the tip tops of the trees, and kind of in harnessing that circulatory power from the black spruce, you're I'm bringing that into that earthly cleansing fluid
Yes.
oil
Yes. I could
to
listen
kind of
to you
encourage
all day about this.
circulation.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt. I can listen to you all day talk about this because I'm so passionate about ingredients too. Not being an herbalist myself, but like just very novice when it comes to, I would say I have my approach from a professional level, of course, because I have to research certain things in order to understand them and to understand how it's going to work for my client and so forth. But obviously not to the
Mm,
degree that you have. But like I will say, like, I'm just, yeah, that connection to nature, it's I think a lot more powerful than people realize, unless they're already, understanding of that, unless they're already in that space and they're visually and emotionally connected like that. But if somebody's listening and they're kind of newer to understanding how that really resonates with your skincare, how it resonates with your body, or if you're newer to kind of exploring that connection between nature and self, like it's very interesting how it could become and feel like full circle, right? Like when you use products that are just, like I said, that intention is there, and they just I don't know, feel good. There's just something about it. Like you can't put your finger on it sometimes, but it's just there, right? Like does that sound
yes.
ridiculous? No.
No, there's a little bit of mystique, there's
Yeah.
some mystery, there's a little magic of, like, "Why does this feel so good?" And
Yes.
oftentimes I liken skincare and herbalism, it's very close to food, right?
Right.
We get
Yes.
nutrients from food, and
Yep.
why does a farmer's market tomato or a
Mm.
tomato grown in your garden
Mhm.
taste so good
Mhm.
compared to the one you get at a grocery store chain that came from thousands of miles away?
Yeah.
It's because of that plant
Yes.
sharing the same biome as you. It drinks the same water source as your own body. It gets the same sun that you do when you go outside. It's grown in the same soil where you live and walk. And so we're sharing this connection with the plant from the ingredients it's
Yes.
or the nutrients it's ingesting, and that's part of our intention too in Romi Apothecary. We're utilizing herbs that are growing in our bioregion that is sharing the same water, sun, soil as our own bodies, because there is relationship in that.
Yes.
There's symbiosis in that. Um, and yeah, it just makes it even more special.
It does. It really does. If you guys are listening and you have a spa or salon or you're an esthetician and you do skincare services, the one thing I also want to bring up is a lot of times when people are looking into other lines that maybe they're not familiar with, or they're smaller companies or so forth, and they're not owned by these large corporations, they're always thinking they're going to be missing something, right? I'm going to be missing an ingredient, or I'm going to be missing a product that everybody loves. And I have found in yours, now granted, I don't carry everything in your line, but I found in your line, you have a little bit of everything. So you have a cleanser, you have an exfoliation, you have, toning, you have moisturization, of course, you have eye cream. I mean, you have hair. I from what I understand, I don't know if the reishi tide can be used in all different ways, but I've seen hair stuff. Like, it's so wide. So maybe share a little bit about how you came about with your line in that way too, of like, did things just kind of stack on each other as soon as you made other products, or were you requested to make certain products, or how did that come about?
Yes, that's a great question. I'm afraid there's no like scientific or a deep um, answer,
No, that's
but
right.
I pretty much just make products that I want to use
Nice.
and that I use regularly myself.
Yes.
So I'm really into skincare for the face and then skincare for the body. But then if you ask me about my hair or like I don't know what to say.
I know, right?
So yes, it's very targeted to facial skincare. And
Yes.
so every product in my line came out of my own personal need of, I want a cleanser, I want an exfoliator when my skin feels dry and flaky.
Yeah.
I need a toner to prep my skin. The reishi tide hyaluronic acid that revolutionized how hydrated my
Yes.
skin stays.
Yes.
And then, like the Restore serum for
Yes.
scars and damage repair, that came out of after I had cystic acne on my jawline, and I had to reduce and fade the scars that came from that.
Mhm.
And so that's how each of my product line came to be. And a lot of people say, "Oh, do you have a natural deodorant?" Or like a baby care line or a men's care line. And I say, well, maybe someday,
Right.
but not yet because I don't ever use a deodorant. So I wouldn't be a good
Me
person to
either.
create that. Or I don't have a baby yet. So I don't have the research there to make a good product for that. But
I think that's really genuine, though.
someday.
These products are similar to me. Like, I use all the products or even services that I offer, or I try to anyway. And I do think there's like a good barometer of like, okay, I know what this is about. I've looked into it. I've researched it. I mean, there's something to be said about that, that you're like, I am desiring this and I'm going to be passionate about making it, and now I'm going to share it with other people. I mean, there's a whole process that comes along with that. So I'm actually like, I really love that that's your process, because that to me means that every single product you come out with, you have thought about it, you use it, you you know, and people can be rest assured with that, because you, so to speak, haven't like left anything undone, or you haven't just quickly come out with something because it was desired from other people, or and sometimes we do feel rushed to do that as business owners. We feel rushed to offer services or products because the demand is there, or we think the demand is there because a couple people have asked, or and so I think that that passion and that that drive behind that, and keeping it small and keeping it incremental with how you feel like you want to come out with it. I think that's awesome. I think I don't know, I think there's some magic to that too, because there's not a push for you to come out with something for any other reason. So maybe the leading question after that is like, so Romi Apothecary to me, gosh, I love seeing it online. I know that you don't push a lot of things online very often, and I actually appreciate that too, because I think every time you do push something online, you're really intentional about that. But I'm always eager to see what you come out with. I'm always eager to see information. I'm always eager to see products. I obviously am eager to hear from my clients, when they use products too. And so I'm very eager to hear, is there anything new coming up from you? What is to come from Romi Apothecary? And would you like to go into other spas? Like what's on the horizon?
Yes, yes, I love that question, because I feel like I'm in the most flow when I'm in the lab creating things. I love to create new products. It's like exciting for me.
Mm,
And so I'm constantly thinking, what do I create next? But then it's a question of testing and making it to the core product line. Um but we are in the midst of, we're likely going to reformulate our exfoliating polish powder
okay.
so that it's more of a paste and easier to apply and rinse off than just a dry powder.
Yep.
So that's kind of in the works. I've been working on a natural sunscreen
Mm,
for 3 years.
mm. Oh,
And there's been a lot of ups and downs and
right.
some ingredients not working out, but I'm hoping on a little bit of grant money this year so we can maybe do some of the sun protective factor studies that the FDA requires,
Okay.
for having SPF on a
I
label.
suppose.
Um, but yes, I'm really passionate about creating a natural sunscreen
Yeah.
that someone could wear daily.
Yes.
And then, yes, I do want to get into spas. I think smaller boutique aestheticians and spas that really are client centered and,
Hmm.
and health and wellness centered. I feel like Romi Apothecary is a really good fit for that type of practitioner. And I would love to be in the spa space more.
I
So
agree.
I have in the works, I have kind of like a gel mask that
Mm.
we're in the testing phase of. We've researched and developed it, but we're in the testing phase. And then I would love to try my hand at maybe a really gentle glycolic acid peel.
Yes. Oh my God, you're making me so excited right
Yes.
now. Specifically, I love all of the products you had mentioned that you're kind of either working on or doing things with, because they're all very exciting and they're all very, they're going to pair really well with your line. I can already imagine. But the SPF, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about that. There's a lot of great SPFs out there, don't get me wrong. And there's a lot of great products out there that have done really nice things with SPF. But I'm always curious. I don't know. There's some curiosity inside me that always wants to try different SPFs. It's such
Yes.
a weird fascination. So maybe this is where I'm like a slight hoarder. Is I hoard SPFs. Um, so when you said that, my ears were like, "What?" So I'm very excited. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh,
Yay, I'm glad
oh,
you're excited.
yes,
You
yes.
share my excitement.
Yes. Well, an SPF is such a it's something that really people need to use every day. They need to be comfortable using every day. They need to desire using every day. And so you have to really enjoy the SPF you use, right? And so
Mhm.
there's all sorts of reasons I've left companies for their SPFs. And so I'm always kind of feeling a little bit disappointed, especially by the larger companies out there that are owned by large corporations. Like that they just do SPF so wrong. And so I'm like, oh, so I always end up feeling no. But granted, in the recent years, I have found some really great lines that don't get me wrong, they're my staples at this moment. So there is lines out there. So if you're listening and you're like, I have yet to find an SPF that I love, there are lines out there. And obviously check out Romi's coming out eventually. But
Yes, I've been experimenting and collecting many different SPFs too, just in terms of research, but also personally. And
yeah,
it's hard to find one.
yep,
And you know, now I have categories of different SPFs for different activities.
yep,
So I have one that's just for, like, daily, like, getting ambient sun if I'm going to the car or whatnot, or by a window, and then I definitely have heavier duty SPFs if
yes,
I'm going out in midday sun, which I try to avoid at all costs,
yes,
but, there's a specific SPF for specific activities,
yep,
so,
yep.
um,
Oh, I love
yeah.
that. Yay. Of course, I will put everything in the show notes for you guys so you guys can check her out on her website and check her out everywhere. But Romina, where do you want people to find you and where do you mostly post things?
Yes, so I'm on Instagram at Romi underscore apothecary. Um, I communicate a lot through our email newsletter that you can
Mhm.
sign up on our website, which is romiapothecary.com. And yeah, those are the two main places where we post and communicate about our new products or any sales that are coming up, or sometimes we do like a deep dive on ingredients.
Yes, yes. Well, I will definitely be posting both of those in the show notes. Romina, thank you so much for being on today. I appreciate all your knowledge, but most importantly, I appreciate your products and your energy. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Heidi, for having me. This is so fun,
Oh,
and it's an honor to be asked to be on your podcast. So thank you.
thank you. I hope you liked that episode and found something useful or a tip that you can use immediately. If you are wanting more marketing tips, business tips, or anything like that, I have a lot of resources on my website. So I have PDFs that you can download for free. So look in your show notes. There should be a link in the show notes that you can click on and it'll take you right to my coaching website. And thanks for listening.